Hey friends, buckle up for a new episode of Soul Dive. You can join Christina King and myself, Chris McCann. If the time's come for you to begin or even accelerate your inner exploration, this show might be for you. Each week, we explore the meaning of life, discover what our purpose is, or just exploring how to be happy. Soul Dive has got you covered. So join us and our guests, of course, and listen to insightful stories about where they've been and perhaps get help navigating your own path. Together, we will soul dive into the deep end of consciousness.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Christina. I need your help. I need your coaching. I need your guidance. I need your love and attention.
Well, it's coming through. So let me just keep it going. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I haven't even gotten the agenda yet, but I've just gotten so many images about you. So I feel it's time to report.
Okay.
Immediately when I started to go into your records, I saw you as the blueberry and Willy Wonka. You know, the girl who explodes into a blueberry and then they send her to the juicing room. You were the blueberry and they had to send you to the juicing room. I don't know if that is commentary from above about what we were just speaking about before we got on it. Or if that is kind of a metaphoric thing. I'm getting a little bit of both and also metaphoric about what's happening right now. About pressure, feeling pressure is what they're saying at the moment. The next thing I saw was you in a room full of Jack-in-the-Boxes, but oversized ones. And it was like you were dressed as a Jack-in-the-Box, but you're looking around at all these Jack-in-the-Boxes and they're all like going off at different times. And it's not scary to you. It's just freaking annoying. And you're just like, oh, what? And they just keep going on and on and on. And I see Meredith also dressed as one, but she's also almost in on the Jack-in-the-Box at the same time. So she's coming around the corner trying to do her own Jack-in-the-Box scaring to you. Like, and it's like, there's a disconnect of like being on board here, whatever it is. It's like a frustration thing on your part. So I'm feeling that kind of like frustration. Have you ever seen Elf?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like and it's just like annoying after a while. It's fun to some people, but it's not fun to you at the moment. Then I saw you in a circus, in a proper circus. But you were doing the whole circus by yourself, and you were spinning the plates, and then you were taming the lions, and then you were going around. There were other things there were other clowns in the circus, but you were kind of like the boss. And the surroundings were people looking at you, watching you, expecting you to entertain them. And at some point, all of a sudden, you just do kind of like a timeout. And all of a sudden, everybody freezes. You clear out everybody from the rings, and it's just you. The spotlight's on you. You're in the middle ring. The audience is frozen, like really frozen in time. And you're just sitting there like glistening in sweat. And then you like sit down in the sawdust and you close your eyes and you go within. And yeah, so I saw that. I feel like that's really important. That whole big scene of like, all of a sudden it's just like, yeah. Then I saw you as a pirate and it was like all these mutinies almost happening on a ship. And as soon as one stopped, another started. And it's just like, oh God, do I got to swashbuckle my way through everything? And it felt more like a monotonous, like really badly planned 90s game where like there's like glitches in it. It's not like real life, but there's like really big glitches where it's like, oh, you start to figure out the pattern of the game and you know that this enemy is coming at this point. But then like you get to a certain point and all of a sudden like you start all over again almost, kind of deal. So I feel all of that. When I saw all of that when I went into your records. So before you say anything, I feel like there's a little bit more. I think there's like a little bit of an agenda. So let me see what they want to say about that. Okay. The agenda is balance, and the agenda is the movie Labyrinth. Have you seen the movie Labyrinth? I'm sure you have. Okay.
No, never seen it.
You never seen it? Okay. So it's this girl who wishes her little brother away. David Bowie takes the little brother to the castle and says, you have, I don't remember the time frame. You have this amount of time to get through my labyrinth. It's a big maze. And that's the whole movie, right? But the point is, it's like a maze. It's like a fun house of maze, and like everything's not what it seems and all of that. And all she has to do is get to the castle. So I feel like right now you're perhaps, and I'm speaking because they're giving me information, that you might feel like you're in the labyrinth, like, how in the world am I going to pull all this off and get to the castle? Whereas in like even 2 or 3 weeks time, they're telling me it'll feel a little bit more of an obtainable thing. So with all that said, you can explore, you can ask questions, or we can start to go in the human agenda.
No, let's knock out that agenda first.
Yeah. Big thing about balance. And I'm getting, actually, which is very, and maybe this will make sense to you, the retreats that you've been doing have been great, but at a certain point, it's also another thing on the to-do list. So I feel like you have to stand still for a little bit, like for at least a month or something, where you just stand still and you just do nothing. I feel like that it would be a balance. That's what they're telling me. And the second thing is that there are some big things happening on the horizon that are life trajectory kind of flips, really big ones. So that standing still will assist in like reducing the static for the space that you need to hold in order to go through these processes or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing, balance. And
Good.
Balance is in like, so whatever you're feeling at work, like the chaos they're telling me at work, you need to throw the opposite of chaos to balance it. And so forth. If you're getting bored in one area, you need to balance that out with the complete opposite of boredom. Yeah.
Right. And so balance isn't doing nothing. It's creating balance by having 150-pound weight and 225-pound weights, if you will.
Yes.
Important, because right now I don't feel like doing shit. Like nothing.
They don't want you to.
Yeah.
They said that's perfect.
Like, I don't want to do anything. I haven't done a social media post. Like I don't want to do anything, period, which is really interesting. So contextually, and I've been having a bit of a time since I came back from San Diego and had the beautiful experience. But from Tuesday on, it's like I've been off, noticeably off. And it's like, well, I've got to take some mushrooms and figure out what's going on here and give myself some space. So Saturday morning, I went inside, so to speak, right? In the middle of the circus, I just sat down in the sawdust and was like, "Meh, meh." And what became super, super clear was that I've been attending so many little funerals. Like everything that I thought was true or things that I was holding on to or any sort of constructs are collapsing. So any relationship with anything is just open for inspection and inquiry. And it's anything and everything: job, marriage, masturbating, what I'm eating, is like, wow, I'm not fixating on it as much as I was before. I just need to know that it's happening and not give it any more energy. So that's definitely been going on. And I was like, okay, there's probably a lot of special work that I did in a short amount of time. And now it just needs to have space to be able to bake in and allow things to happen. And thankfully, I have wonderful people in my life that I can talk to about these things that provide some context and some balance. And yourself, Carlos, my friend Art, Sleepy Eye. And so that's good, because I'm just like, breaks. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't care if I do another Instagram post right now. And that feels okay. And not because I don't have anything to say, but it's like, it feels like there's this great reconfiguration happening. And that's worth writing and documenting, but for my own sake, for whatever else happens. But that's what's going on there. And so work-wise, and I got a text message from my CEO last night to come up to San Francisco because she wants to talk. And her and I are just disconnected. Like, there's the situation that happened at work before, my prior boss who's been let go. But now I certainly appreciate some of the things that she was doing, because without having someone in charge, it's chaos. Like, wow. And I raised my hand, and I'm like, I'll help until you hire someone. Like, I'm over here. Like, put me in and I'll help organize things. And not because I want the C-level job there, but because there's no rudder and it's a fucking free-for-all. And it's frustrating, like stupid things, like my expense reports getting kicked back for dumb reasons. Like, it's just really, really annoying.
And the Jack in the Boxes makes sense.
Oh, for sure. Now, in the middle of all of that, so like one lady, and I've never, ever, 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 ever missed a meeting my time here. And this lady that's kicked back my expenses, we had a meeting I thought was at 3:30 today, and I didn't show up because I thought it was at 3:30, but it was actually at 2:30. And I was like, oh my God. So I sent her just like a nasty, by my standards, email yesterday, like, third time I've had this conversation in 2 years. Here's all the correspondence. Like, I don't know why we're having this conversation right now. It feels very ticky-tacky. And my expectation is that when I resubmit my expenses, that it's all going to be approved. Like, and then this is the person who I missed the meeting with. And I'm like, I'm sorry for that email yesterday, but you have to understand, I'm really frustrated with all this. So that's that. And in the middle of all this, I believe I have a new job offer coming. And I think the final interview where they're grilling me is tomorrow, but all indications are that they're going to make me an offer by the end of the week. And it's pretty significant. It's at least a 33% increase in my guaranteed pay. And it's probably a 65 to 70% increase in my overall compensation. It's significant.
That's significant.
And it feels really good for a lot of reasons, but I've gotten the technical opinion, but I wanted to get a second opinion from you. Because
for them.
Yes, you and them, the we. On does it feel like a hell yes for all the right reasons?
Do you want me to answer that right now?
Sure, if you have enough context.
My reaction is you should take that. I'm getting a hell yes. And I'm getting the right reason is because it's new. And this has everything to do with what's happening in your company, because they're saying things just aren't easily fixed by hiring a new person. No, the new person has to learn. And, all these fires that are happening, it's going to take a while to put them out. And you are going to be heavily involved in that. Not that you're afraid of that, but it is very much affecting you physically, emotionally. And Now, granted, a new job is also could be contextually very, I don't know, stressful, but that's a different kind. This is like, it's new. It's a new job. I'm getting it's a new job. It's not like new, and it's an opportunity for you to make more connections with people, and that is very important to you in a job. And you're going to feel more diverse team dynamics within the teams that you'll be working with than before. And so all of those things are little bits of energy that kind of, shake things up for you and make it a little bit, I don't know, more interesting and a bit more satisfying. It's almost like I'm seeing you kind of as a pirate again, where it's like this ship's on fire, lots of mutiny. And now you're kind of like jumping that ship. You're swimming over to the other ship and climbing that one. And granted, nothing's perfect, but it's different. It's a different ship. You're just like, oh, thank you for taking me. And don't feel like, you're cowarding away of like leaving this mess of a hellhole. And what they're doing right now is they're totally validating what you're feeling about your frustrations. And that makes it easier to leave, they say.
It does. Yep. And that's why it's so interesting that it's all happening now. Like, why does Neha send me a text message at 9? People in the organization know how frustrated I am.
Yeah.
And I don't hide things very well.
No, you're pretty outspoken.
Yes. I take care of my team, right? And I'm an advocate for them. And they know when things are off. My head of HR knows that things are off. Right. And it's been 3 months and they still haven't readjusted my comp plan on something that was supposed to have been done 2.5 months ago. And so I'm throwing meetings on the calendar like, we're talking about this tomorrow. It needs to get solved. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I'll just throw in my own little anecdote here. When I was a sophomore in college, I decided to apply for the study abroad program. Mm-hmm. And I was going to, in the fall of 1999, I was going to study abroad in France, and I was going to do it. I was studying all this French to like go through the interview process and everything. And uncharacteristically me, I dropped the ball in so many ways on my application, and that was not like me. I applied, but it was a really bad application. They had like a 99% acceptance rate. I go in the interview and I forget all my French and I freaking bombed the interview and I did not get accepted into the program. Okay. Devastating blow to the perfectionist me of long ago. And she brought me into the office to let me know that I was not chosen for the program, even though 99% the people are chosen because you're supposed to study and learn a language abroad. Right. And I was beside myself. And I didn't understand what had happened. Like all of a sudden, all of this chaos happened within me and around me. And turns out I met my best friend that fall. I would say the love of my life that fall. I met so many people that are still a part of my life that fall when I was supposed to be in France. So I'm just telling you this to say the chaos helps you to move on and leave. And this is kind of a timed thing by the universe. Because if everything was going well, it wouldn't push you to the other place.
No. And it's so funny how, it's not lost on me that everything really came to a head simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like, is it really supposed to be like this obvious, or am I just getting better at reading the tea leaves?
I'm getting a really, really, actually very positive feeling about this new thing.
Right.
Yeah, very positive, a very hell yes. And I was actually reluctant to say hell yes because all of a sudden, like as right before you said, hey, I want to know if this is a hell yes. I already felt hell yes, and I want to say hell yes, take it. And I was like, well, hold on, because it was just so strong that I didn't want to like fully go in, but they're like, just hit. Fine. It's a hell yes.
And it's so like I've been trying to scare them away. Like you don't want me, right? Like, here's what I go do. I take off once every 6 to 8 weeks and I disappear because this is what I like to go do. I also do this. And by the way, I have this coming up. And by the way, I'm going to go do this. Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Can we come? And I'm like, like, wow. But when I talk to them, and it's like, wow, like head to toe, like energetic, like, yes, the whole thing just feels really, really good.
Yeah. It's really good. Now, of course, nothing's perfect. It doesn't mean you'll be blissfully married to the job forever, but it's definitely going to be a good thing for you. I have a question. Are you moving? Or are you able to stay in the same place?
Stay in the same place. Tell me more.
No, I feel like there would be a move attached to this eventually, maybe. Where's the headquarters for this?
It's in San Francisco, but no one really lives there. Like one of the guys moved to New York.
Okay.
Or Boulder or Denver.
That might be it. But I feel like Chicago-ish almost, like that kind of far. I don't know. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying I feel like you're moving at some point.
Well, at some point, sure. Like nothing's forever.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not getting in the next 2 years.
Well,
actually, I'm feeling more of maybe around your son's graduation time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what I'm feeling. Yeah. It's like as soon as that happens, things are gonna really move. Like both, like in reality and everything else. So
yeah. Yeah. I love it here, but I know that every morning I go to the beach. It'll be the last morning I go to the beach here. Right.
Yeah.
And that's
you're a beach boy.
But if I'm going to make $500,000, it spends a lot different in other parts of the world.
Yeah. I mean, you're in Santa Monica, drive 2 hours south, cross the border, and
well, Meredith is working on our European passports for what that's worth.
European passports?
Yes.
Both of you get one?
Yes, because we're married.
And she is
Italian.
Okay, that makes sense.
Generations removed, or 3 generations removed, but there's a path.
I see. Yeah.
There's also
I tried to do that with my Irish lineage, but it's too far removed.
Right, same here. And Polish is much closer, but the challenge with Poland is that it wasn't a country until after World War I. So
it was like Prussia or something, right?
Exactly.
Part of Prussia.
Yep. So that's there. So assuming that this interview goes well tomorrow, I expect to have an offer in hand by the end of the week.
Yeah.
I expect to go to San Francisco and have that conversation with Neha on Friday and set the team up for success, right? Make sure that some of the things that they would need are there. But I think the point that you made around just because they hire someone new doesn't mean that everything's going to get fixed is great, because the problems are bigger than that role.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing it's going to be a good year before everything's a little bit like, whew.
Yeah.
Now there are characters in the game of that company. And I say game because every company is their own little ecosystem, There are characters that will stick around for that because that's where they are in their life. And that's the things that they're going to be dealing with. That's what they're dealing with as a human, But as far as you, it's like, that's a move on time for you and maybe some other people behind you that you wouldn't know about. But yeah, I mean, there you go.
There's some people I would like to take with.
Yeah. You know what? I got that message like really subtly a really long time ago early in this conversation as you were talking about it. I feel like you're going to pick some people and take them.
Yes. The alternative to that, because they'll want to fight that, because I also kept these people from leaving, which is like the huge win. So I'm going to take those same people that were retained to this new place. And
yeah, I'm getting 2 main ones.
two main ones.
Two.
Mike Dudley and Lloyd, or Mike and Guillemar.
I'm not getting who they are.
Okay.
At all.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But I'm getting two.
Okay. It'll be crucial for sure. So that feels really good. Thank you. The challenge there, of course, is that when I go back into startup, pre-Series A, fundraising world, is that my how I spend my time is going to be different than how it looks today.
Yeah, I'm already being shown that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, I was shown that. Yeah.
And
yeah. I was going to say something and I was like, wait a minute, you're not finished with your thought. I'm getting like, I'm calling it a lay low period where you're just kind of focused and like hunkered down into the new shape that you're going to be in for a good 3 months and just like really sinking down. But I feel like I think it was Ghostbusters. Why are all these movie references coming up? Have you seen Ghostbusters 2?
Yes.
The painting with the slime?
Yes.
And then like the roof starts like peeling off, like the shell of the roof and everything. And there's like, you can see the sky. Yeah. I'm getting that as you quote hunker down, that the scabs will start to lift off of you of what you've carried into this as baggage, and I feel like even though it's like quote hunkering down for 3 months, it's just going to be uplifting and very healing. Like, oh, well, I know I'm back here, but it's just going to feel different. It's different. Different people, different players.
And it's mine. If anything goes wrong, it's completely my fault. And something that's been coming through for me is be the captain of your own ship. Be the captain of your own ship.
Yeah.
That feels good because I know.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Nope.
No, I was going to transition to something, but I want to hear.
Because I'll be doubling down on this, then the other aspects that I've been working on, which the coaching, which never really took off, and investing money in other things that didn't really stick, courses, all that other stuff that I spent time on.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like nothing ever really came out of that by way, I want to be really clear, of me transitioning out of my role at Content Stack into doing that full time.
Yeah.
But my perspective on that has changed. And here's where I've landed with it. So you go to the top of the mountain, right? You get something and you come back into the marketplace and you share it. Go to the top of the mountain, go back into the marketplace and share it. So this platform and being exposed and meeting new people and having a certain title attached to me, I feel will give me more credibility in certain domains to be able to do the work that I enjoy doing, which is, who am I? Why are we here? What are we doing? What's the point of all this? And being able to have a greater impact that way.
So I know that you don't want to hear this, but you already kind of do that because of the team leading.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah. So it's not the way you want it to look, but you already kind of do that. And
it's just not the way I thought it would look.
Yeah. Well, right. So yeah, you're right. They're saying you're absolutely right. And just because it looks different than what you thought and you tried to construct and wrap your head around doesn't mean it's not happening, because the mission doesn't change, like the goal, because it's kind of preset. You agreed to do this and you agreed that this would be your role in life. So while it's not happening directly hardcore in one way, doesn't mean that it's not happening. It doesn't mean that it's still not going to happen. Because I'm seeing it's here. You're in the middle of it. It just doesn't look the same as what you thought. So yeah, I can confirm everything.
Right.
Oh, it's happening and it will happen even bigger.
Yes.
Again, corporate. corporate, it's almost like maybe I've said this before because it feels very familiar. I see you almost going in as a spiritual leader to the corporate world, as your own practice.
Yep.
And that's money, and money as in fulfilling yourself and actual money. So
Yes.
yeah, that definitely hasn't changed. The feeling is still the same for me.
Yeah, just the getting there is different. And like even the LinkedIn post, I think had something to do with this role being made available to me. Right. Which is really interesting. It's like,
that is interesting.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That feels complete.
Okay. So now if you would allow me to transition to something else. So you brought this up, but now it's really coming in strong. We're going to talk about sex, Chris.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
And we had a conversation before we even pressed play about things, and they want to add to this. And obviously you said it, and we had that mini conversation to set us up for this conversation, right? Nothing's an accident. I think that's very important in this time of transition. And I think you already know that, but it is definitely need versus a want. And for the same thing that I said earlier, which is like a balance of energy, a kind of a reset button, kind of a like even playing field and everything. So I don't know how to say this.
Fucking.
Well, I mean, I know that you have a wife, and I am assuming that you guys are monogamous.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. You are not, or the agreement is that you're monogamous. So everything I'm about to suggest has nothing to do with like going behind her back or not being monogamous. But what I'm saying is that I feel like you should go another level. And I think we've had a similar conversation before. I think that's important. And I think it's important to the both of you. So I don't know anything about, I mean, I know that you have sex, but I don't know much about your sex life. We don't need to discuss it. But what I'm saying is that whatever like your baseline is needs to go a little bit higher and a little bit different, especially during this time. And even it will help her. So I feel like the holdout is her for some things. But I feel like if you can get her on board and, get her like eased into the water a little bit, she would be a little bit more agreeable because she's very emotional about it and you're a little bit more primal, but she needs to be more primal a little bit. That because it's human nature, and this is an opportunity for you guys as a couple to support each other, to be primal. And that's actually a gift in itself. You're both not alone in this. I mean, think about if you were single, Chris, and think about if she were single. You might be, I don't know what you would be doing, but I'm seeing more of her. She would be emotional and a little scared, but by having a partner, it really helps her kind of explore herself, understand herself, feel like a woman, and feel like she's expressing herself. So, yep.
Yeah. I tried broaching that with her a couple of months ago. It was a non-starter. However, before I went down to the peyote ceremony, I met with Dr. Dan. I had the tarot reading from the Bowie guy, and I met with Helen for the first time in over a year. And that was a really significant chunk out of that was, oh, I'm afraid to say this, but there's another romantic interest in your life. Not in your life now, but right. And I was like, so then I'm like, is it you, the one whose nipple I'm staring at? Or is it you? Or is it you? Um, so I don't, just whatever happens, happens. Just do no harm.
Yeah, I think that's why I was telling you about the monogamy thing, like kind of prefacing it like this is a together thing and this is not a secretive thing.
Right.
That's coming up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but I think where the big holdup is that it's kind of the feeling within her is almost like it's so formal, almost like a job interview, whereas it needs to kind of happen a little organically. So I think the best situation were to be to put yourselves in situations to where it would happen a little bit more organically than like placing an ad or making a negotiation, right. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's like one of my friends, and I'm like, oh, this could be the guy. Like, totally. Right. He's just over here. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, I would actually almost like tell him, hey, give it a shot and see what happens.
Well, is she open to that?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Right. Not if I facilitate. It'd have to like.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. Did Helen indicate a gender? Because I'm getting the opposite.
Yes, that was specific in my ask, and that it was a female.
Yeah, I'm feeling female. I'm not feeling male. At the start, I don't know. I feel like this is just to try to get the party started, get things rolling. Because I know just by working with you, this has come up before. I think, right?
Oh, multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is just to try to help facilitate the transition of a little bit into another direction for you guys.
Yeah, and it feels good, like the thought of it. And I talked to someone. Actually, it's my CEO's chief of staff, who's in an open relationship with her partner of 10 or 11 years, and. Like, well, that's really interesting. It came up, and I was laughing because we're having a conversation around the mechanics of it. And she's like, the jealousy doesn't go away. We'll lay in bed, and he's going through Tinder, and he goes out, and when he goes on dates, she's like, I get to just sit there on Netflix and just watch it. And like, it doesn't mean I don't get jealous or envious.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I don't know anything about that world.
Yeah, it's new to me.
Yeah. Well, anyway. I just wanted to give you that message if you have any questions about that.
Oh.
Hey, it's science. It really is.
Yes.
And I like people always say, the men are promiscuous. Well, look at I think we've had this conversation before, but look at gay men.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very, very promiscuous world. I have a lot of gay men friends, and some of them are married, but it's all kind of still happening on the side, and they're fine with that.
Yep.
And it's just men. I mean, they love their husband, but they're very well aware of, I guess, their needs as men, being wired as men. But then there is the woman's side. When I was in college, I lived with two gay men, and they would drag me to the gay bars. So I became what they would call a fag hag. Yeah. I came in with my troop of gay men, and at first I was a little, I was naive and I was really young, and I'm a straight woman. And I would come in and be a little bit like, well, what if like a lesbian hits on me? Like what? Like I don't want to hurt their feelings, or like kind of that naivety. Like all of a sudden they're gonna be like, hey, go out with me. Be like, sorry, ladies, I'm straight. I'm just with my gay friends tonight. So I imagine that this was happening, and my gay roommates were like, oh, honey. They know you're straight. They know very well. And you're going to see They're all paired up. They're all coupled up in the corners with their girlfriends. And it was very true. The men were out there taking clothes off in the dance floor, and the women were like making out on the side and like hanging out with their significant others. They all had they were so coupled up. Like I think I would have been frustrated if I were a lesbian trying to break into that world, because it was very closed. And that's a woman, that's like, emotional, like, here's my domain. And men are just like, hey, you want me to go over there? I'll go over there. That's no problem. So yeah, it's wiring and science.
Yes, to science.
I didn't mean to offend anybody by talking about men and women and gender. I know there are more genders than that, but just telling from my experience under which I'm doing this metaphor for you.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how that happens. But I think that's really the only way that this lasts, where we are fulfilled in all ways, right? Otherwise, I'm just going to call it.
Yeah. Got it.
And I don't want that, right? That doesn't feel appropriate.
Yeah.
But it has to work for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And I'm getting it can. It really can.
Yeah.
It will, because she just doesn't know it yet.
Good. Well, like her yoga class yesterday was funny. And it was a 4:00 class. And there's probably 25 people in there. And 15 of them are men. Like good-looking dudes. Went to the same class today, different teacher. She's great. I was the only guy out of 25 people. And I was like, huh. Not the first time that I've noticed this. And I was like, there's like, go play. Be safe.
Yeah.
Come home.
So it was Meredith's class that there's all those men? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see. Yeah. I'm seeing more threes than pairs at the moment.
We've talked about vagina and she's not a fan.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway.
Yeah. We'll see. You'll be the first to know.
I did my job. Beyond that, I can't help you, buddy.
Yeah. Just line it up for me. Take me to one of your websites. So 2 other things have happened that are really interesting. We talked a little bit about the potential trip to Peru and Brazil, or maybe it's just Brazil with a crossover into Peru. And finally today I got the green light that it's down and we can go. And I've already messaged this to my current company that I'm going to take off for a couple of weeks. And I messaged to the new company that I'm going to start and I'm taking off a month later. So maybe I don't start until December. But the advantage in starting at the new company earlier is that it would be pre-Series A. So before they take funding, if I join post-Series A, then my shares would be the shares that I would be given as stock options would be a different valuation than if I joined right away. So I don't want to miss that window, because that could be a significant window if the company IPOs or gets acquired. So I don't want to miss the timing of that. But I also don't want to miss the opportunity to go to the source and spend time with Sleepy Eye and Meredith and maybe Adam, with the elders, knowing that, life could look a lot different coming back from that anyway.
For some reason, I feel like the trip's not going to happen at this time.
Okay.
Like for everybody, like maybe it's a coronavirus thing or a border thing or something, but I feel like nobody's going.
Okay.
I mean, I could the human in me wants to say I could be wrong, but I just feel like this is not going to go. Yeah, no danger or anything involved. It's just that. When would the trip be in December?
Yeah, November 28th through the 12th of December.
I'm feeling it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I feel like the opportunity will be a little bit more springtime almost.
Interesting. Okay.
A little bit more time. I think maybe something's going to happen. I don't know if you need visas or something. Just something's not going to happen. And I mean, I could be wrong, but something's not. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had that in the back of my head. Maybe this just gets pushed off a few months. I just don't want to miss the opportunity to do it. But that seed's been planted over the last week or so. But then I finally heard from Sleepy today. He's like, yeah, I talked to my bro. We can do 2 more. But there's so many mechanics that have to happen to get us to that point.
I'm feeling like it's not going to happen. Yeah. This is too soon almost to be like, hey guys, I want to go to Peru. What's happening? It just feels like something's not gonna like maybe a step's gonna be missed, or I don't know, something where just like all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe we'll try again.
Okay.
But I feel like you're going with them at some point. I don't know if you're going with all of them, but you're going with who you need to go with.
Right.
And also I feel like even if it were on, I feel like you shouldn't go at all. And I feel like there will be another opportunity. This is going to happen for sure. So don't feel bad that this won't, that maybe you're not feeling it this time, or you feel like, oh, I need to hunker down. I feel, confident about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not because of the job situation, but just more because like, oh yeah, we forgot to get our visa stamped.
Something like that. I don't know. I just feel like it's like, oh, sorry, we're too booked at the place where we're going to do this. Oh, sorry. So just something's not
right. Okay.
Something within that.
Now, the other aspect of that is that Sleepy wanted Meredith to do ayahuasca before we go, because it's better to do that. He wanted her to do it once or twice before doing it at the source. So part of that also that's opened up then is perhaps doing, he wanted to come to Santa Monica and take Meredith and I through it together, which is amazing and beautiful. But then open it up for others to, maybe he does one-offs with like little private ceremonies with people, or we find a place for a long weekend and he can do like 3 ceremonies, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday or something like that. And I would still like to facilitate that. And it's more than a month away, right? We're talking about middle of November. So it's still the end of November, actually. I don't know. I'm saying that and it actually feels pretty soon.
It's very soon, actually.
Yeah. I'm like, holy shit, like that's just a month away.
Yeah. I'm getting that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it might happen. Yeah. More so than Peru, actually.
Okay. Oh, Meredith's printing off her yoga playlist.
Yeah, I saw her. In case you were wondering if there was a ghost or something behind you, I was going to be like, yeah, there's Meredith.
You still here? Meredith, you still here?
Yeah.
Hey. So that'll be fun to do that and organize that. And then we could offer up Peru.
I hear that you should not have it at your house.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're like, don't have it at your house. Don't host, because you're gonna get a lot of people like not being able to drive home. Mm-hmm. I've never done it, but I'm getting like it's almost like by having it at your house, you're hosting all of this energy that's gonna be like plunged and shed. You don't want any part of that, they said. Yeah. So it does need to be at a location which Sleepy Eye will be led to, I'm hearing.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, it's going to have to feel good for him as well.
Right.
So like, yeah, they'll take care of him as an administrator of this important thing. They're like, he's got lots of people working for him on the other side where, yeah, whatever the place it is, that's going to be the good place. And of course, you can have a hand in the suggestions, but ultimately he should pick it.
Okay, good. That feels good.
Yeah.
Sleepy. I'm so glad that he's in our life. He is just a really incredible person. It's just the fact that, like, not only do we know him, but I can call him a friend. It is like such a privilege. Like, who has friends named Sleepy Eyes? Like, we do.
You do. Does he really have a sleepy eye?
No, he comes from a long line of Sleepy Eyes.
Oh, it's a legacy. Okay. Got it. Because I was like, maybe when he was younger.
He's pretty awesome.
Sweet.
So that feels good. So the next thing that's come up, and I spent some time with Carlos today, was he looked at me when I was down there in San Diego. I got out of nowhere, and I think I shared this with you last week. And he's like, "Hey, you like working with teenagers, right?" And I was like, "Sure." So today there was this first call with this group called One Humanity, and they have some space that they bought in Auschwitz. They have 2 bakeries that are across the street from each other. Not lost on anyone that was on that phone call that they come from a line of Polish bakers, particularly from that area, and looking for ways to help. But just this morning when I was meditating, and I was, okay, Kingston, wow. Okay, I'll pet you. Like energetically, I was like just sitting there at the sun, and I got so filled up just by whatever was coming through this morning. It was just beautiful. And then before the call even started, I'm just like energetically, just like, right? Like this all just feels really good. And even my relationship with Carlos feels really good. So I'm interested to see if anything's coming up around that group there.
And they were teenagers in Poland?
Yes. Or with the One Humanity group, or
that's interesting. So I have a meditation group I've been doing for over a year, right? And it's kind of a free for all. Anybody can join. It's on Meetup, and I've had hundreds of people come through. But there are certain people that stick around. I'm feeling the same thing with this, whereas there are certain people that need to be connected with you. And so they're going to stick around. I feel like this is not like like you're not going to be doing this in like 5 years. This might be a year thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit of a short term, but there will be a couple of people stepping forward that you're going to have some sort of relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting that that's going to be a good purpose.
Okay.
Of course, your presence on these people are like there are people getting things from you and you're getting things for them, but there are a couple of people that are going to kind of step forward and you're going to know them,
Yeah, like no, capital K no.
Yeah. So I feel that.
Good.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
I feel like you're definitely doing the right stuff. You're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that all feels good for sure. It's nice to have the validation, or the confirmation rather.
Okay, answer this. I don't know much about One Humanity. I don't even know what it's about or anything like that. But is there like an opportunity for these? And these are all male teenagers?
No.
Females too?
It's male and female, and they have this group in Poland, but they're pulling teenagers from all over the world: Nepal, Japan, Singapore, Europe, the States, Africa.
Okay.
the global concern. And the operating theory is that there's, one humanity. We're all equal under the eyes of God. Who are we? Why are we here? What's our purpose? The kind of stuff that I get excited about.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is I feel like, do they ever have opportunities to like study abroad or like visit the United States or something?
Maybe. Yeah. So they bought the bakeries in Auschwitz. They have barracks that they're buying as well. So they'll have a center there on the grounds that's tied to the UN City of Hope, right? And that we've taken a place that's been so traumatized and not focusing on the descendants thereof, but focusing on or getting rid of the continuation of the same trauma perpetuating itself in the same samsara circle. And how do we actually stop the bleeding of what exists there, as well as including teenagers from all over the world?
Because I feel, and I ask all of that because it makes the context make more sense of what I'm seeing. I feel like one will come and visit you or something.
Really?
Or come over or something like that. And that could be like in the future, like when they're an adult or something. But I feel like there will be like a visit or stay for a little while or something. I don't know. Yeah.
We'll see. I'm open to it. So Chicago, when you mentioned that, was really interesting because one of the things that Meredith and I have talked about as our parents are aging is to kind of re-anchor back in the Midwest so we can be a little bit more present and help. My father got some not great news on Thursday, so his clock has started.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. He has anywhere from 3 to 10 years. But the quality of life, it's a huge range, but the quality of life will begin to depreciate significantly. So even the 10-year mark, it doesn't sound like the quality of life would be there. So I was like, do you want to come to Poland with me? He's like, I can't. I'm like, well, it's really how do you want to live those 10 years?
Yeah.
But my mother is going to need a purpose. So us having an apartment or something somewhere like in the Chicago area.
I feel like it'll be both places actually now.
Yes. Right. So somewhere here.
Yeah.
Right. And here could be anywhere between here and Sayulitas, Mexico. I don't really care. And then Mexico preferred. But at least close to Carlos and our friends and get somewhere in a couple of hours. Right.
Yeah. This makes sense. And you know what? I thought about this earlier because I was like, as when you were talking about the job and the income, I thought now that it'll allow them to have 2 places.
Yeah.
Yep. So I got something a little bit strong about Chicago. Mm-hmm. Are they actually Chicago or suburb?
So they're in Michigan. So her parents are in the suburbs of Chicago. My parents are in Michigan. It's like a 2.5 hour drive from Chicago.
Okay. Where would you want the spot?
Well, my granddaughter is in the suburbs of Chicago. Meredith's family is north of Chicago. My preference would be in Michigan, like along the lake. And if we're going to at least do it, at least give me some sunsets by the beach.
Yeah.
And I've already done Chicago, so I don't feel like I need to go do that again.
Yeah. Well, hear me out. Mm-hmm. Definitely suburban, but a really interesting way to do this is to buy a duplex or a multifamily place, and one of them being for the use of your family, including your mother. And then when you guys come in, right, that's where you stay. But it's also an appreciating asset because someone else will live on the property, or your Airbnb that stuff out. I'm getting that maybe this would give a purpose to your mother because she could be property management almost. Mm. Whereas like if it were an Airbnb, maybe she could flip it for the next customer or figure out how to hire the people to do so and, manage the account or whatever. But also, best case scenario is that you have a tenant because they don't, there's no like off and on and stuff like that. So whereas it's not just an abandoned building all the time, there's something happening. There's life in there while you guys are gone.
Right.
So I'm getting that suggestion. It's not a like you have to, but like think about like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Santa Monica, of course, you know a little bit more about your footing, but that would actually, I don't want to say justify because it's already justified that you would have 2 places, but it would actually make a lot more sense to practical life if you were to do it in this kind of way as well.
Yep. I have no desire to move to Chicago full time.
Yeah.
I'd be miserable.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, I don't know the squatting rules in Michigan, like, you know, or whatever, but, or the Airbnb rules, but this would be something to maybe consider.
Yeah. And my mother would not leave Grand Haven. Like she'll die there.
Yeah.
Unless we put her, and that's in Michigan. Her parents have already said they're not leaving Lake Forest or that area, but they would downsize their home. I'm just like, I want to make sure that I have my place out here because we're building community. I feel at home out here, and I think I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you always have the other place too, if you have another place. So. Right.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah. It does feel good. And when you said that, that's why I smiled. I was like, I already kind of felt that earlier. Like,
she gets what she wants. I get what I want. Mm-hmm. She's getting some dick. You know, like the whole thing just works. Chicago cock. You still up here? Oh. I'm not sure if she left. Yeah, I know that feels good. I'm not sleeping well.
Rightfully so, I hear.
Okay. It's really annoying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Help.
Yeah. So they're trying to show me what's going on.
Okay.
Again, it's like a static thing. It's not like a brain static. It's a internal need. Just give me a minute. Sit with this for a minute.
Take your time.
Recently, you had a period of when you were sleeping well, correct?
Yeah.
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 So it's different than the time because we've addressed sleep issues before, and this is different.
This is different.
Yeah, they said it's different.
Can't put my finger on it. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, why is this happening? Like I was sleeping so well. If I'm working, I'm cool with it, but I might want to be more aware of what I'm doing. Like Chris the human would like to participate more actively if that's the case.
Okay. And this is just the tip end, and then we'll see what happens after this. So do you
happen if you put the tip in? It's totally fine.
Yeah. It's just the tip. By the way, I learned what soaking was today from TikTok. Do you know what soaking is?
No.
So soaking, okay, so it's like a big thing with the Mormons because they believe that sex is forbidden until you're married. They just stick it in and it soaks.
Oh.
I didn't know what that was until someone on TikTok explained that it's very popular in the Mormon belief.
So penetration doesn't count as sex then?
They're not moving.
Oh, loopholes.
And then here's the other loophole, same video. She goes, another thing is if you have a really good friend that can get around the bed or under the bed and then you soak and then you move the surface of where you're lying, then things are moving, but you didn't do it. You didn't move it.
Oh.
Like the ends of the earth that they will go to.
Wow.
I think we should cut that out. This
Yeah.
is going to be a hack job, but of an edit for you. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did I bring that up? You need to soak. No, I'm just joking. I did not say that.
It's just the tip in.
Oh, that was what it was. Okay. The sleep. This is the start. Is there a moment of the day around lunchtime of this pivot period? They're talking about pivot period where you eat your lunch and you lay down for a good 20 minutes.
Every once in a great while, I don't lay down, but I have an opportunity to close my eyes and meditate.
You need to lay down, they said. There's like a pivot. I keep hearing pivot joint of the day. Whenever that pivot joint of the day is, which usually is about a lunchtime, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Like early afternoon. They recommend to you that you actually change the position of your body to where you're horizontal.
Okay.
That's a, one of those little things from the 90s with like the hoops in it, and it had water in it, and you tried to like and balls that would go through like different holes and stuff, and you were trying to with the water like slosh it. It's almost like that. It's like when you get horizontal, you're sloshing the water, making things work a little bit different. And yeah, definitely doing an energy dump at that point. So that's the tip. That's the start.
I like it.
So let me revisit this again because I think this is not done. So they're saying that's not going to be like a magical thing. It's just like with exercise, like if all of a sudden you just exercise one day, it didn't really do anything. But if you exercise regularly, it does it. That's the same principle. Have you ever ridden horses?
Once.
So there is something magical about horses, but I'm seeing Kingston as like the horse here, but there's something magical about the horses. Oh. People who habitually ride horses. I read an article about this where the horse is a very spiritual animal, and it's almost like it internalizes. It's like the dumpster of emotions, and that's why so many people ride for therapy. Horses are very great healers, and you can tell anything to a horse and they'll internalize it for you. Like they will absorb it, okay, and process it and things like that. So I'm kind of feeling like a horse thing here. And that's a horse's job, they said. That's part of their spirituality, okay? I'm feeling like that with Kingston a little bit, where if you were to lay down and like bear hug Kingston, that would very much, but just feeling his energy, because you guys are very connected, would be a healing moment.
Wow.
So have you ever like just laid down with him on the floor and like bear hugged him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's really good. Well, hello there. See, you guys are touching, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying that's similar to a horse. I'm not saying go out and ride a horse if you want to, by all means. But it's like the same effect where even though you might think that Kingston would be a dog that is very sensitive and that you would need to help the dog, it's the opposite as well. He can actually serve you as well.
Good. I'm going to give him a bath because he smells, so I can cuddle more effectively.
Yes.
So
that will help your sleep too. Again, not a magical cure, but yeah.
And I'm okay with not sleeping well if it's for the highest good. But if it's something that can be addressed because of something I'm not addressing,
No, it's not for the highest good. They said it's a comfort. You need to be comfortable, and you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable without sleep. So if you're worried about it, then you need it.
Huh. Okay. So there's nothing magical happening. It's just like sleep.
Yeah. I mean, sleep is crucial, and there are magical things that happen when you do sleep. But I feel that this is not a highest good thing. This is definitely just a period of like, I want to sleep and I wish I could sleep. And yeah, you're just not comfortable.
Yeah, no, definitely not comfortable.
Yeah.
All right. That's helpful. Extraterrestrials are really interesting to me. And I keep thinking about experiences that I've had of late, and then going back to when I was a kid, of being abducted is not the right word, but understanding that my true nature is a little bit different than my awareness of my true nature is a little bit different than some people. So I'm very grateful for that. I know that people have had jarring experiences when they've been abducted or taken away or anything of that nature. But that last experience that I had at Carlos's, I wasn't questioning any of it. And I just knew that that was the case. And it was really incredible. I'm reading this book called Passport to the Cosmos by John Mack.
That is your jam right there.
It is absolutely incredible because it's like tying together so many things. Like, yeah, of course. Like it's, translating Carlos's book and understanding that it's all its levels of consciousness to be able to communicate and operate. But even then, not a but, it's like, there's no question here. I'm just saying thank you, I suppose.
Well, they're showing me the reason you're not jarred and is because you exist in this space. And they're showing me almost like Olympic rings. You know how the Olympic rings Venn diagram each other?
Yeah.
You exist in this, you've always existed your soul exists in this real place where the worlds collide in a way. And you're comfortable with this awareness and this positioning of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's totally fine. Like I wouldn't have it any other. I don't know of any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you were aware of this when you were young because that's how you're wired. Yeah,
and I just thought it was normal, right? So, like astral travel. Like I didn't know that it wasn't. I didn't know that I wasn't. I didn't know that I was doing it because I didn't know anything different than that. Being able to be in an observer state and disassociate. I've been able to disassociate since I was very young. I didn't know that it was like a thing. That's just how I dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool place to be.
And they said, you're welcome and thank you too.
It's just funny in thinking like when I was really young and being like moved or visited, how they didn't necessarily appear like aliens. They were human, right? And they would take on these images, or they'd give me something that was designed to make me feel more comfortable or less scared. But it was like the periods were off or something, like dressed up as like Revolutionary War clothes, like that period. And it's like, nice try, people, but like you're off, right? You didn't quite get it. It's really interesting. And it like more keeps coming back as I like do more self-inquiry and remembering things and aspects of flying out the window, if you will. It's really cool. I'm excited to see where all this goes, but knowing that I'm already doing enough.
Yeah, well, I think there'll be a continuation of that work too. So It wasn't your last experience.
No.
So yeah, whatever calibration, whatever was happening, they're not giving me an insight because they're like, this is kind of his. And if I were to have an awareness of it, it would affect me. So they don't want me to have an awareness of whatever was happening when you were doing this recently.
Boom, boom, here, boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
So I can't see it, which is fine. It's fine with me. And I obviously can't see what's in store, but it's almost like the next chapter, the next chapter, the next chapter. Whereas there will be an outcome, they said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's forward, backward, this way, that way. It's in all directions.
But there'll be an outcome.
Well, and that's where I think Poland becomes interesting, or like what happens through there, because the concept of this nonprofit, unbeknownst to me, is exactly the same as what was being shared with me when I was out there and bearing witness to what was going on here, and what my role was in all of that. And it's much bigger than.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so it's like, yeah, of course, this is like, I didn't know how I'd be on stage, or I didn't know how I'd be doing this, but that's no shit. Okay.
There's definitely a message involved, but the message is not verbal. And you're just the man to communicate it.
It's a vibration, is how it's portrayed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the outcome, and it's just in progress of what needs to happen in order for the outcome to be ready. Anything else?
No, let's wrap it up.
All right.
A stinky little pity that wants to go for a WALK.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me close you real quick. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for love and compassion. I'd like to thank the Lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are not closed, amen. The records are not closed, amen. The records are not closed, amen. Oh, and they want to say thank you and much love to you.
Oh, thank you. Much love to them as well.
And they had said kind of like it's always like a celebration to serve you because you're so clued in, keyed in, and they like that experience. So that's very good for them.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. I feel like pretty awake to most of what's going on. Not all of it, but I'm picking up the big markers.
Definitely. Yeah. Great. Well, Chris, it was a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Mwah.
Wow.